All right, everybody. We are just barely now going live to have discussions about autism. If you're an autism parent, if you think your child might have autism, if you just want to learn about autism, you are in the right place. Usually we get a couple hundred people in here, so we are just now going live. So if you're here, please tap on the likes, tap on the screen. Let's get the likes going so that we can get it out to more people. It does usually take us just a few minutes to get going. Lexi, good to see you. Good morning. It is so great to see you on here. All right, everybody. We are just at the start of our live. We go live every day. We go a couple hours, and it takes a little bit, but we get a lot of people in here, and we talk about autism. Destiny, you are early. Thank you. I'm glad you're here right at the beginning. It starts off a little bit slow usually. Maybe after about 5 minutes, we have a lot of people in here. But if you tap on the screen, it gets out to more people more quickly. But how are we all doing? What's new? Ermita, hello. Good to see you. We are, guys, I am embarrassed. I did something that I've never done today. And I have to confess, I was late dropping my son off at ABA. 30 minutes late, you guys. 30 minutes late dropping my kid off at ABA. And just yesterday we talked about someone who I believe it was yesterday. They were talking about how the hard part about being an RBT is the parents when they, miss sessions and stuff. But you know what? It happens. 30 minutes late, you guys. But he's there. Yeah. All right, let's keep looking. Apple user says, "What do you think of people who have personality quirks that now identify as autistic?" Yeah, that's a really good question. Autism isn't something you can self-identify as. It's a diagnosis and it's a disability. And so, it is frustrating, and I think it's, I think more than anything, it speaks to the need. I think there are a lot of people who have autism that have masked their entire life, and they are aligning themselves with what autism is. And so I think a lot of those people, it's not just them trying to do something trendy. I think they genuinely see the autism traits in themselves, but they've learned to mask. I mean, 20 years ago, we didn't have the ability to diagnose everybody. But it definitely needs to be diagnosed. Don't call yourself autistic unless you have a diagnosis. Let's see. What programs do they have that you find really work to help autistic kids? All right, guys. When I talk about the parts of the autism journey, some of the biggest things in the autism journey is before you worry about all the therapies and everything like that, I want to make sure that you have a village. You need to have your village. This right here, we are a village. Step 2, though, once you have your village, you need a diagnosis. And then after you have your diagnosis, you have your village. Step 3 is deciding what services your child needs. Now, there are 4 main first-line therapies for people with autism. Okay, there's supplemental things that you can look at later on, but the 4 core therapies to help people with autism that you should be looking at include applied behavior analysis therapy, ABA therapy, occupational therapy, OT, speech therapy, and mental health therapy. I'm actually right now working on a tool that is going to be free for everyone watching. It's going to be free for everyone who's going to be able to go in, give info about where your kid is, and help you make that decision of what therapy to be able to have for your child, because it's a lot. There's other good therapies though. I mean, if your kid struggles with movement and gross motor, you can look at physical therapy. Some people have found that their kids really enjoy things like music therapy and equine therapy, and it helps with regulation. But those are typically viewed more as like supplemental therapies, not the core therapies. Let's see here. Destiny, I remember you asking me that. I still need to think on that one. Do you think fully functioning adults seeking diagnoses are delaying our children's resources? I think if the same provider is doing both, I think it could, but that's not what's always happening. There are psychologists who, who specialize in the adults. Typically, it's not the same person, but it can be. I will say though that I don't know that I like the term fully functioning adult, because even adults with autism have challenges. However, I will say that early intervention isn't critical at that point, right? They're not looking at getting themselves into ABA therapy, and for a 2-year-old, we need to get them in. So I don't know that I have a good answer on that. I see someone keeps pinning Bobby's World's comment. I can't read that whole thing. Just something about having an update. But I'll try to see if I can find that. I was told I get to wake up on April 1st and find out if my son has a team on April 1st or not. That's what they sent you in the letter, Bobby's World? Oh my goodness. Holly brought up the Ella Ola vitamin. They were one of those companies that wanted to sponsor me, and I turned them down, not because I think it's a bad product, but because I don't want people thinking that there's something magical in that's going to help autism. It's a multivitamin, and if your child is on a rigid diet, you should consult with your doctor and see if a multivitamin is necessary, because it's not always necessary. And so, but yeah, that's one good option. They have like a tasteless, odorless powder that you can put on any food. Anyway, let's see. Cooper Brand says, what do you personally feel is the cause for autism? Do you have an opinion on that? Cooper Brand, I try not to let it be feelings. There's actually a lot of research on it, Cooper. So much research on what causes autism. And what we know is that it's genetic. Autism is genetic. And it's polygenic, meaning it comes from multiple genes, hundreds of genes that we've identified that impact the way that the brain develops in utero. Guys, I need to go on a rant. I need to go on a rant a little bit, and it kind of has to do with this. Autism is something that it's how your brain developed in utero. It is not something that you catch later on due to toxins or something that you did to your child. And I made a post yesterday, and I got a little bit of pushback on it, but I'm seeing a lot of people who talk about reversing autism. What are your thoughts? And you can disagree with me. This is a safe space. Can you reverse autism? Can you reverse autism? Here's my thoughts on this, is saying that you can reverse autism makes autism sound like it's a disease, like it's, strep throat that you can take antibiotics for, like it's a rash that you can put a cream on. It's a toxin that you can rid from your body. And that really bothers me. And I haven't taken much thought into that phrasing of reversing autism, but I've been seeing it go around. And I haven't really been able to express why it bothers me so much that we need to reverse autism. Felina, that is a really good point. If it can be reversed, it was misdiagnosed. The other part of it, that it is just scientifically false that autism can be reversed, because what that says is that autism is something that came into the body, and it's not. Autism didn't enter your body. It's not a thing that came in to harm your child. It is the way their brain developed, and so you can't reverse it. You can't reverse it. That doesn't mean that you can't progress. You can't have support, but calling it reversing is damaging language, in my opinion. I think that people hear me say that you can't reverse autism, and they think I'm saying that our kids are going to be nonverbal forever and we shouldn't try to do anything about it. And no one thinks that. No one thinks that. Autism absolutely can be supported, and you can teach a child in a way that they can learn. And yeah, you can help them learn and progress and develop and grow. But that's not reversing autism. That's just helping them grow. Every kid, like, you are not, if a baby learns to talk, you're not reversing their infancy, right? That's the same thing in my mind. If you teach a baby who becomes a toddler and learns to talk, no one would ever say, oh my goodness, finally, we're reversing their infancy right now. No, they're just learning, they're developing. And kids with autism do the same thing. Their brains just work a little bit different. So anyway, that's a little bit of my thoughts on it. Hallie says, new here and just joining, curious about what your experience with autism is. Let me get into that. I like to ask this as we get started. If you're just finding me and I popped up on your For You page today, put FYP in the chat. Who's new here? Put FYP in the chat so I know that you just came in for the For You page, and I'll tell you a little bit about myself while you do that. Oh, there we go. We have some people coming in from the For You page. So a little bit about myself. I have a 3.5-year-old diagnosed with autism. I do post on occasion on my channel a little bit about him, and you can see him. A lot of people from the For You page. This is amazing. So I also have a 1.5-year-old that was diagnosed this week with autism. So I have 2 children diagnosed with autism. But long before I had children, I started working with people with autism. I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. I started working with people with autism and other disabilities in 2013. I have grown. I have I actually created an app like 8 years ago that trained other BCBAs to be able to pass the exam. Do we have any BCBAs in here? About 80% of board-certified behavior analysts used ABA Wizard, my app, to learn about to prepare for the exam. And so that was part of my background. And then currently I'm the CEO of a company in Utah that provides services to people with autism. Oh, Hallie, you have that app? Yeah. Okay. So I founded that company. I started that app. And anyway, that's just a little bit about my background. I'm not a doctor. But I also don't say things that I don't have information on. I say I don't know quite often, but I am the most passionate guy you'll ever meet about autism. I'm an advocate. I go and I speak to my legislators all the time. I go and protest. I go to on Capitol Hill here in Utah all the time. And that's where I'm at. Thank you guys for being in here. I do go live every day. Okay, that's my thing. I've found it's a way, and I just started this like 6 weeks ago, and I have found a lot of comfort, a lot of relief in being able to go live and find other people that are in this field. Whether you're a parent of a child with autism like me, or if you have autism, I really, really value this time. And so make sure you're following me. Also, something people don't know, I've been testing it for a few days, but it seems to be working pretty good. I'm now on the YouTube. I don't know if saying that gets me banned or anything. I'm not telling people to go over there, but it's live on both. And so you're more than welcome to watch over there if you want to. But also what that means, I did this on purpose because people have been asking to be able to watch these lives when they're not able to be here during the live. And so now you can go back and watch previous days' lives and kind of be a part of this village even if you can't be here live. So all right, let's look at some more questions. Okay, my 5-year-old son, level 2, is struggling with aggressive meltdowns at school. What should I do? Bat, oh my goodness. Let me ask you this, Bat. Who's on your care team? When I talk about, like, us parents, autism parents, we have a lot on our plate. And you should not be expected to be the expert to be able to find all of the answers at all times for your child. And so you really need to build your care team and have a team that you trust. And so your care team is going to include potentially ABA therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and mental health therapy. And these professionals are going to function as your child's care team. And that way you can say, hey, look, my child is struggling at school. Let's get the team together. Let's hold a team meeting. I want all my professionals. I want all my care team here. And let's talk and discuss my child in specific. Me, I don't have any info on your child, but I can say that there is going to be help. I will also say the school is responsible for putting together a behavior plan, a BIP, they call it at the school, behavior intervention plan. They have to conduct an FBA, functional behavior assessment, and request that if your child has an IEP. So, all right. How else are we doing? Let's take a look at this. Something else I like to do to just get context for who all is here, because we get kind of 3 categories of people. Put a 1 in the chat if you are a parent of a child with autism. Put 2 in the chat if you have autism. Put 3 in the chat if you're here to just learn, just to be a part of this conversation. I always love to see where we stand. Usually we do get a lot of autism parents, and a lot of all of these things, 1, 2, and 3. I love that. You guys are in the right place. We try to keep it positive. Keep it positive in the chat. I am very much evidence-based. I don't entertain fringe conspiracies. I go by what data says. I go by what the overwhelming majority of professionals and clinicians recommend, and that's what we talk about here on the channel. Now, you're allowed to disagree with me, but we keep things polite here. We don't name call. We don't any of that kind of stuff of being harsh or anything like that kind of gets people banned. So that's where we stand here. Let's see. I don't like when people with autism, Asperger's, and ADHD get treated like they're different species. Haley, oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more. Something that bothers me, we have a lot of parents in here. Have you guys ever been in a meeting, a team meeting, and they don't talk to your child? They talk to you instead of talking to your child? That bothers me. My child deserves to be addressed. They understand things. And yeah, I need to help him and fill in the gaps, but they shouldn't be ignoring your child, you know? They're not a different species. They're not a different person. They are a person with human rights. They should be able to advocate for themselves. And even if they can't communicate, I really value it when professionals address the person, okay? Haley says, I had an IEP and nobody stared at me and talked to me, just my parents. Oh, that's so frustrating. I hate that. Marie says, do you think that Tylenol caused it? What do we think in the chat about this? I'm curious, the people that are here learning, yes or no, Tylenol causes or is correlated with autism. What do we think? I'll touch on it a little bit of what I know in the research, but I'm always curious to see what people think. This is one. Let me tell you what happened here and why there's confusion. There was one study that showed, and this was a Harvard study, that showed a correlation between Tylenol and autism. It was a weak correlation, but it was essentially saying that the more that a mother took Tylenol, the more likely the child was to have autism. However, that this correlation, first of all, was weak, small sample size, and didn't rule out many confounding factors. So if you look at this, why do people take Tylenol? Maybe because they have an infection, maybe because they have a fever, maybe they have a sickness. And we do know autism is genetic, but there are environmental factors that contribute, and infection is one of those things. And so when they've ruled out confounding factors in these meta-analyses, Tylenol was in no way correlated with autism. So that it's important to talk about that. I bring that up most days on the live here, and if you're here every day, you probably know you probably know that I bring this up a lot. But it's important to me because I think there's a lot of parents out there that take blame on themselves, and you need to know you did not cause your child's autism. It wasn't your Tylenol. It wasn't your vaccines that you were a good parent and helped your child get vaccinated. It was not that. Let's see. Let's see here. The connection between the gut and brain is huge here. My kids have no genetic reason to be autistic. Don, genetic is not the same thing as hereditary. Okay? Be sure you understand that. It doesn't mean you're autistic. There are genetic things that happen, and it doesn't necessarily mean that someone else was autistic in the family line. Let me talk a little bit about the gut and brain. This goes back to like the 80s, okay? There was the leaky gut theory about autism. And the thought here was that there was a theory that people with autism, their gut was leaky in the sense that it was spilling heavy metals into the bloodstream of the child, causing toxins to get into the brain, and the heavy metals going into the brain was causing autism. Now, this is absolutely not found in any body of research or evidence. What I will say, though, is that that nutrition is important for everybody, and there is not any connection between the heavy metals and autism. That's important to know. Oh my goodness, Wallfly, what a good question. Is it too late to help my nonverbal 32-year-old daughter communicate? Oh my goodness, what a wonderful question. Absolutely not. It is not too late. People have this idea that, once a child hits a certain age, they can't learn anymore. My company, Nova Sports in Utah, we have a clinic completely dedicated to serving adults. And I have seen it within a matter of weeks that, if you're 32, and to put it in perspective, for all of you with young children with autism, you have all these resources available to you, okay? You have ABA therapy, occupational therapy. Well, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, those were all still considered fringe therapies that were not evidence-based. And insurance wasn't paying for it. It wasn't an available therapy or tool for people with autism. And so now we have all these adults that never had these therapies. And so I have had people come into my clinic and have zero form of communication, whether it be vocal or through a device or like a picture exchange system. And within a matter of weeks, we have been able to give them a voice. Not conversational, okay? If your child's 32 and has 0 words, most likely they're never going to be fully conversational. But your child can still have a voice. Your child should still be able to express that they want to be able to have, water, or that they're hungry, or that they don't want to do something. They can still learn. Stacy the pharmacist says, my kid has no words at 5. I hope I get to hear her voice someday. Yeah, I do too, Stacy. I do too. I'm right there with you. I'm just now starting to hear my son's voice. He's 3.5, and it's the most beautiful thing to finally start hearing him have a little bit of a few words that he's able to say. One of my son's favorite words is pizza. And so every time he sees pizza, he freaks out and he just goes, pizza! And I made a video about it, and it was super cute. And you know what, though? Like, hearing your kid's voice is so impactful, but please remember that a voice isn't just vocal. But your child's voice can still come through an AAC device, can still come through a picture exchange system, and those can be powerful ways of hearing your child's voice. also you're not settling. If you choose to use an AAC device, you're not settling. There's research that actually shows using an AAC device will increase their ability to vocalize down the road. Sophia says, my son has been counting and saying his ABC since 3, but nothing else. Sophia, how old is your son now? How old is your son now, and what therapies are you getting? Guys, I want to be very clear. If you have a child who is 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are not communicating yet, they don't have many words, time is of the essence to get them into the therapies that they need. And I want to make sure that one of my biggest passions is making sure that I'm very protective of our time and resources as parents of children with autism. Everyone is going to tell you their cure for their child. I see it every single day. People selling you supplements and vitamins and diets and, these magic pills that are supposed to help your child. And we go broke and we burn out because we put all of our time into these little things in the off chance that it helps our child with autism. There's a better way. There is a better and simpler way. And it doesn't make money. That's why people don't talk about it. I'm on here talking about it as a parent of a child with autism, but it's not glamorous. It's not going to make me money. But I'll tell you what it is. It is following this journey. It is first building a village so that it's sustainable. You need support. You need a diagnosis. That's step 2. And step 3 is you need a care team comprising of 4 therapies. Okay, these are the therapies insurance pays for. Oh, thank you for the hat. You guys are so kind with the gifts. Thank you guys. That means a lot. But there's 4 kinds of therapies I want you guys to have your mind on and open to. The very first thing is ABA therapy. The second is occupational therapy, and then speech therapy, and then mental health therapy. These are your tools. These are your resources, okay? Please look into these therapies and do as many as you can and what's reasonable. So how do you pick which one to do? Well, ABA therapy gives you the most time. That's good to know. These other therapies are usually an hour a week. ABA therapy can be up to 40 hours per week. And so for me and my son, that was a clear answer of what therapy I'm going to prioritize first. And so please make sure that you are building your care team. If your child can't communicate and your focus is on changing your child's diet, and they're not in these therapies, I want to ask you to take a step back. Now, I'm not going to be able to sell you anything to make it easier for you, but what I am going to do is take a load off your shoulders and say, you're doing enough by getting them a care team to support them. All right, you guys. Alex says ABA is an intervention that's not needed at all. Wow. Yeah, I'm curious your thoughts on that, on your perspective. I have hundreds, thousands of research articles that beg to differ. That ABA therapy focuses on skills development and reducing problem behavior, and it is one of the key therapies that you should consider for your child. What is mental health therapy? Username says mental health therapy refers to talk therapy, and it's not for every kid with autism. If your kid can't communicate, they're not going to be able to go to a therapist. But if you have a teenager that's having a hard time fitting in at school and has social problems and they're fully conversational, mental health therapy is such a great resource for your child. And so I'm sure to include that. That's why not all these, I'm not saying do all of these therapies. I'm saying these are the 4 that I want you to look at and prioritize. And again, I say this, I'm not making any money doing this, you guys. I'm not here trying to sell you supplements or quick, easy fixes. Okay. I'm just a passionate guy with 2 kids with autism that, autism tends to be my life. And I am so frustrated by the amount of predatory marketing that goes on in the ABA industry. I am so frustrated at seeing these creators on TikTok that promote these expensive supplements to support your child, promising and giving false hope and distracting you and pulling your resources away from doing the basics. Okay? All right, you guys. Let's keep looking. Hello, can a teenage girl, Scrunch says, have autism without having problems with different foods or smells? Absolutely, Scrunch. That's a really good question. So autism isn't something you identify with. It's not something that everyone looks the same. But there are a few criteria that have to be met. There needs to be social deficits. There needs to be repetitive or rigid behaviors. The DSM-5 is a good resource to look at and really break down what they're looking at when they classify autism. Okay, I'm an ABA provider. No two kids are alike, but it certainly helped with their development. Bruin, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. My son does take prebiotic, which does absolutely help with gut health. Gut health is important. Yeah, and I'm okay with gut health, but if you're doing it for your autistic kid and not for your other kid, that doesn't make sense. Gut health is important for everyone, and overall health is important for everyone. But this idea that your gut leaks and communicates toxins to the brain, and that's what autism, a source behind autism, that is this kind of like predatory, non-factual pseudoscience that I'm trying to talk about. Let's see. SW says, does it entail having every sense be heightened to the point where it's debilitating? SW, what a good question. What a good question. A lot of people with autism, they describe the world as being extremely loud, where senses are heightened. And a good way to conceptualize this is to think of the idea of pruning in your brain. So when a baby is born, the baby's born with so many connections in the brain, and as the environment, they're learning about their environment. They're seeing lights. They're having clothes put on them. They're existing. These connections in the brain are being made, and then it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. There's so much, and the human brain is fascinating because it'll start pruning out these connections and make it so. Like, let me ask you this right now: are you thinking about the clothes that you're wearing? Can you feel the clothes on your arm? Until I said that. Were you paying attention to the light above your head before I called it out? Were you paying attention to the sound of the ceiling fan going on until I mentioned it? Our brains filter those things out, but they have done research and found that many people with autism prune differently, and that their brains are so loud because all those connections, or many of those connections, are still there. And so they're feeling the clothes on their body. They're seeing the light. They're hearing the fan going on all at the same time that you're trying to talk to them. And so absolutely it can be overwhelming to have autism. That's why there's so many sensory needs for our kids with autism. Let's see here. Thank you guys thank you moderators. I didn't see all that was going on there, but please discuss why eye contact is problematic. That's a good question. And this is one of those that I'm not prepared to talk about. I don't think I know why eye contact is something that many people with autism struggle with, but I will say I'm not a fan of forcing eye contact. I think if you're not comfortable making eye contact, don't make eye contact. It's okay. And the world needs to get behind that. That's where I'm at with it. But I'll look into that a little bit more of why eye contact is something that people with autism struggle with. If people have ideas in the chat, let me know if you've heard anything, and I'll look into it some more to make sure that we can, yeah. Ambra says eye contact helps with learning to speak, though. That's a good point. I mean, I could see an argument for that, but I also think it can overstimulate somebody, and when they're in that state, it might not help them. I think referencing people is important, but like directly looking in the eyes, it doesn't matter if they look at your mouth, if they see you in their peripheral or anything. I think that's okay. Making eye contact, add distractions when trying to listen. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good point. Estrella says, my brother was recently diagnosed. By any chance, were you ever irrationally mean to your family growing up? Well, I'm not diagnosed with autism. I'll be fair with that. I do get that a lot because it's, ask me anything about autism. I just have kids with autism, and a little bit of background about me to give a little more context for people coming in just now. My name's Kylan. I have a 3.5-year-old diagnosed with autism. And then just this week, my 1.5-year-old was diagnosed with autism. I am a board certified behavior analyst. I've worked in this field, helping people with disabilities, including autism, since 2013. I am the founder of a study tool that has helped about 80% of the board certified behavior analysts be able to pass the exam to become BCBAs. It's called ABA Wizard. That was like 8 years ago that I did that. And currently I'm the CEO of a company that provides services to people with autism throughout Utah. But I started doing these lives because I found I need a village. I found that as an autism parent, this is hard. And I have breakdowns. And I worry about my kids. And I get angry at what I wish my kids, how they're treated and how the world treats my child. And I found that I need a village that I can talk to, that I can be a part of. And this has kind of become that village. And so thank you guys for being a part of my village. And sometimes we focus heavily on supporting each other, and sometimes I get passionate about conspiracy theories that harm people. But either way, like, we're here for a good time, and we're here to support each other, and we try to keep things positive. So that's a little bit about me. I go live every day. So if you're enjoying this at all, go live. I'm also on YouTube. I just barely started that. And so if you ever miss these lives, you can just go onto YouTube. The link is in my bio, and you can watch how the conversation goes on other days. So how can I push my friend to get her ASD screening? Nina, that's a good question. You have to be so delicate. It usually doesn't go over well to tell somebody that you think they have autism. And honestly, I personally don't think it's your role to do that. I think that's something they kind of have to come to realize. And if you think that they do, it doesn't change how you can support them and help them. There are exceptions, though. Like I talk to people all the time who say that they're so grateful that someone told them that their child has autism or likely has autism. And I think that's true. I think you need to be very careful with that. You need to be very careful, and you can ruin friendships and relationships by saying things like that. Andrea says, I have autism and it's hard for me to go to the lunchroom. What could help? If you were sitting here in front of me, I would have a good conversation with you about the unique challenges that you feel in the lunchroom. Is it the noise? Is it the people? I've heard autism explained as though, and let me just say, we have to do assessment here. We are so quick to give advice. Like, someone could say, hey, I don't like going to the lunchroom. What could help? And you're going to get 100 comments saying, put headphones on. And assuming that it's sensory. And it could be. I mean, if it is loud in there and that bothers you, put headphones on. That's fine. But there could be other things going on. One thing I like to bring up is one of the best descriptions of what autism feels like is that it feels like you're on stage performing a play in front of an audience, and all the other actors have a script, but you don't have the script. You don't know your lines. And so you say things that you shouldn't, and you don't say things that you should, and people judge you for that. And the social anxiety that comes with that is extreme. And so if you can relate to that, Andrea, I don't know if that's how you feel, but if you can relate to that, the key is to find a script, meaning talk to somebody, potentially a mental health therapist, and break down exactly what you're going to do in the lunchroom. Who are you going to talk to? Where are you going to sit? That way, when you start doing this, it's not a mystery. You are not on stage performing without a script. So that would be my recommendation. Joan says, I have a 4-year-old granddaughter who is having a hard time going anywhere, worried about school. Joan, thank you for being an involved grandparent. Thank you for being the village for your child and for your grandchild. We need that help. My wife had surgery last week, and her mom was able to stay with us. Stayed with us for a week to help with the kids and help in recovery. And having that level of village is so important. And so, Joan, my advice to you is please be as involved as possible with your child. They need the help. They need the village. Preezy says, my son is 2 years old and nonverbal, but listens. Did you experience this as a child? So many people with autism experience this. I don't have autism, and so I, as far as I know, but I have worked with hundreds of people who do have autism. And at 2 years old, your child is so young. So young. Preezy, does your child have a diagnosis of autism yet? Do they have an autism diagnosis yet? You need to get an autism diagnosis for your child. If they meet that, you need to get them evaluated if they're 2 years old and not communicating. And you need to start looking into therapies. The main therapies that we recommend are ABA therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and mental health therapy down the road once they are able to have communication. But at that age, if you start early intervention, you have such a high chance of being a fully conversational adult. The early intervention is key. And again, we're not trying to reverse autism, okay? You can't reverse autism. And if that makes you upset, let me know in the chat, but you cannot reverse autism. And what you do is you support people and help people grow. And you can help support your 2-year-old who is not yet communicating by giving them those therapies and giving them patience. And you're going to hear their voice. You're going to hear their voice. Vilma says, how do you manage burnout as an autistic adult? That's a really good question. And I think burnout is so hard for everybody in the autism community, whether you have autism or you're a parent of a child with autism. This is really where the mental health therapy comes in. Vilma, are you getting mental health therapy? Now, I don't have autism, but something that therapy has helped me with is to be able to learn that it's okay to prioritize yourself. It is okay to have a hobby. It is okay, it is not selfish to do things that you enjoy without other people there. And the more you're able to self-care and focus on yourself, the better chance you have of not burning out. Please, mental health therapy, that's great. Sissy says, how to encourage speech in a small child? Oh my goodness, what a good question. Okay, if you have a child with autism in the chat who is under the age of 5 and not yet communicating, put yes. Put yes if you have a young child not yet communicating well under the age of 5. I want to hear young children who are struggling to communicate. Let's see. First of all, look at 6 is fine too. 6 is fine too. Look at all the people here. Look at all the people here saying yes. First thing to note is that your child is young and development is not linear, meaning 1, not every child develops the same, but 2, your child is going to have ups and downs throughout their development. Crystal says yes, 3-year-old with apraxia. Yeah, 7 years old. Yes, yes. Lots of communication struggles. You are not alone, but let me give you some advice. Number one, the parts of the autism journey. Do we remember what they are? Are we remembering as I talk through these? The first one is build your village. You need to have your village. You're going to be so sick of me talking about this. Build your village. Number two is you need clarity by getting a diagnosis. And number three, you need to build your care team. You need a care team. And so my recommendation to you is you can have total confidence that you are doing everything possible for your child if you have built that, if you've gotten them that diagnosis and you've built their care team. What therapies are included here? Well, there are four main therapies. If your child's not communicating yet, it's probably three that you're looking at. One is ABA therapy, another is occupational therapy, and another is speech therapy. But let me give you one tip that you can do with your child today. I don't want these tips to override the message of building a care team around your child. If you have a child who's not communicating over the age of 2 or 1.5, you need to start early intervention. It's not stigmatizing. You are not accepting, or you are accepting them. You are not, what am I trying to say? You're not going to stick them into this label or this box of being nonverbal by addressing it. But let me give you a tip, okay? Let me give you a tip. If you have a child with autism, they're young, they're not yet communicating. What I want you to do, this is a very good general recommendation that all parents should be doing, is when you know that your child wants something, and you know when your child wants something, you know when they're thirsty, you know when they're hungry, or sometimes you know this, but when you know, maybe they led your hand somewhere, when you know that they want something, instead of just giving it to them, what I want you to do is very simply say the word that you want them to say to ask for that thing. Don't say a full phrase. Let's say they want their iPad. And they take you to their iPad, and you, instead of just turning it on, what you're going to say is you're going to say iPad, and then you turn it on. That gives them a chance to echo it. It's pairing, you're recasting that word, you are pairing that word with what that thing is, and gives them the best chance of repeating that. Now, be super clear here. I just said one word. Our kids with autism, quite often, they tend to be parrots, okay? They tend to repeat an entire phrase. You don't want them to be repeating, I want, or you don't want them repeating, what do you want? iPad. And then they say, what do you want? iPad. Keep it very simple. Keep it basic. Just say one word. Don't say anything else when you're handing it to them. Just say iPad. And you start there. That is a great place to start as you're getting your care team set up. Okay. Any advice that I give is immediately overridden by your own care team who knows your child. But that's one really great, easy place to start with your child. Maggie says, will they talk one day? I hope so. Many will. Most will. There's so many autistic adults that you talk to that didn't talk till they were 5, 6, 7. You gotta assume that they will and operate like they will, and continue giving them support and therapy as though they will. Do you think the drops sold on TikTok really work? Elizabeth, what are the drops? You're gonna get me back on my soapbox here. About supplements. I need a drink. Need a drink before I go on rants here. Short answer, no. Probably not. What are the drops? What am I missing here? What are the drops? What are the drops? Oh, they're to remove toxins. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, let's talk about it a little bit, you guys. If you're an autism parent, you would do anything for your child. And I mean anything. We had Amy on here yesterday who went and talked to her senator yesterday to address concerns with their child. But autism parents, we do anything for our children. And we have to be careful that doing anything for our children does not mean doing everything for our children. Because the moment you do that, then you start entertaining things that are not evidence-based. So you gotta be careful. Your body does not need to detox. Your child is not poisoned. You need to hear this. Your child with autism is not poisoned. They don't have toxins that are causing this. It is not because of a leaky gut causing toxins to spread from the gut through the bloodstream into the brain. That is not what's causing your child's autism. Kira says, my parents did nothing for me. They are Gen X and ignored it. Yeah, that's a good point here that a lot of adults grew up unsupported with autism. And part of the reason for that is today, it is best practice. It is required by pediatricians that they do the autism screening, the MCHAT, at 18 months and 24 months. We are screening every child that goes to their regular doctor appointments for autism. And so we catch it. That's why the diagnosing is increasing. We are screening every child. And so also there was a change in the diagnosis in 2013, which caused Asperger's and autism to be one diagnosis. And if you were a kid before then, really autism was only ever diagnosed for like the most profound cases of autism. Sarah says, mine has echolalia, can speak a lot, can't effectively communicate. Therapist said he can't do speech. Look, I want to tell you something. If your kid is reliably saying the words, he can pronounce the words, but there's not meaning behind the words, speech and ABA therapy, they're going to be your best friend. It's an amazing sign. If your child can echo. A lot of people hear echolalia and they're like, oh no, it's a disease that my child has. And it's not. Echoing is typically one of the first forms of communication that come in is echoic language. And for a professional, it can be fairly simple to transfer echoing to more meaningful language. But it takes time and it takes a lot of work. And so definitely, if you're experiencing that, you should be getting quite a bit of ABA therapy to be giving those words more power. Oh, Anna says, I need potty training suggestions. Oh, that's a good question. Potty training. Okay, in the chat, if your child is not yet potty trained, say no in the chat. If your child is potty trained, put the age that they were potty trained in the chat. Know if they're not potty trained yet, or if they are, what age were they potty trained? A lot of kids are not yet potty trained. Yeah. Wow. Okay. My son is 3.5 years old, and I got to confess something to you guys. He's not yet potty trained. My son is 3.5 years old. I've been a BCBA, a board certified behavior analyst, and I feel like I'm quite expert on the topic. Why have I not potty trained my son yet? Well, let me tell you about it. My belief with potty training is, one, you got to wait for your kid to be ready. And two, you got to wait for your family to be ready. Potty training is hard, and you're going to be cleaning up poop you're going to be cleaning up pee, and you're going to be making a big cleaning. Your kid's going to be making a mess, and it's all hands on deck. It is not something you can do on your own. We are going to do it very soon, and I cannot wait to update everybody on how it goes. But we have this thing in our culture, at least in the United States. I don't know how it is in other countries. In the chat, you can tell me. But in the United States, if your kid's over the age of 3 and still in diapers, people look down on that. You get judged. Have you guys felt that judgment? Have you felt people judging you for not having your child potty trained? They call you lazy parents. I hate it. I hate that. And it's one of those things I want to make sure you know you're not doing anything wrong. If your child is 10 and not potty trained yet and he has autism, you're okay. You're not a bad parent. You are helping your child 24/7, and you haven't decided or you haven't been able to support him in that way yet, but you will. I've helped 20, 30-year-olds learn to use the toilet for the first time, and they can learn it. You are not, this isn't like language. Potty training is not like language. It's not like you have to do it by the time they're 3 or else they're never going to be able to do it right. No, that's not the case. But you can do it. So my plan, how I'm going to potty train my son, I'll tell you what I'm going to do for my son. I'm going to take several days off of work, maybe a week off of work, so that me and my wife can both be hands-on with my son during toilet training. And what we're going to do is give him unlimited amounts of his favorite drink. He likes almond milk. So he's going to have as much almond milk as he wants during that time. If by that time it's juice, he can have as much juice as he wants. It's not going to be good for him. It's not healthy. But what it's going to do is give him as many opportunities to use the bathroom as possible. Step 2 is the bathroom is now the fun zone. His iPad is now only allowed in the bathroom. And it goes on the floor, and he has to be sitting on the toilet for his iPad to be turned on. And so he has to be bent over like this, looking at the iPad so that it points down into the water without even having to touch it. And he only gets the iPad when he's sitting on the toilet. Then we're going to create a sitting schedule. So it's probably going to start something like 2 minutes on the toilet sitting and 20 minutes off the toilet. And at that point, we start doing that. And whenever he has an accident, we go and we have him help clean it up. Now, the sitting schedule then fades out as they stay dry during the intermediate. Also, part of this is get rid of the diapers, put them in underwear, but this is a process and you need a care team. And so the other part of this is my son has school, my son has ABA, and those providers and us at home all need to be doing the same thing. Okay? All 3 of us need to be doing the same thing. And so that adds another level of complexity here. And so if you're ready to get rid of diapers, and if you have a village and you are ready to go for it. You can do it. You can potty train a 2-year-old nonverbal kid if you have the right professional helping you. You can do that. If you are ready and you can tackle it, you can do it. But if you're not there and your family's not there, you're not doing anything wrong. You are okay. Oh, Kara, thank you so much. I just found your account, but I appreciate you so much. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you. Oh my goodness, you're too kind. You're too kind. Hi, so what can I do right now in the meantime while I'm going through an autism diagnosis? That's a good point. There's a waiting period, right? Oh my goodness, thank you for the hat. Jazzy, you're the best. Thank you. Guys, thank you. Appreciate your advocacy. Absolutely. Okay, so if you're waiting for a diagnosis right now, I want you to know that you might not be actually on a wait list. If you have it scheduled, you're on that wait list. That's great. But if you've been on a wait list for 3 to 6 months and you haven't heard from them, you're not on that wait list. Do not just get on one wait list. You call every single psychologist you can find. You do not need to use the evaluator that your pediatrician referred you to. Usually, if the pediatrician referred you there, they're referring everybody there. And their wait lists are going to be so high. And so what you really need to do is you need to call every psychologist you can find so that you don't have to go through that wait list. That's what you need to be doing in the meantime. Okay. Amy says, my son got his assessment soon. Scared it won't be picked up because he masks. I got to tell you what, the ADOS is pretty good at assessing things even when children are masking. So I'm excited for you. I think you'll probably, if you've gone through the diagnostic criteria, if scored high on the MCHAT, chances are it's autism. Abby says, I'm struggling hard with getting the official diagnosis for my child with the current state of U.S. Abby, I'm curious what specific challenges you're facing. Are you having a hard time finding a provider? Mega says, what is masking? Oh, that is a good question. What is masking? Okay, let me answer that. Okay, so people with autism, quite often they do things to their brain desires a certain way of the world operating, right? Like they may flap their hands, they may do things that make them feel comfortable. Most of those things don't hurt anybody. People just might think that it's weird or odd. And so masking is what happens when you feel like you are not allowed to do those things that make you you. Changing who you are unnecessarily, usually. And some of the impacts of that is those behaviors that you're masking, your body wants to do most likely to regulate your nervous system, to help you calm down. And then you start masking, and it holds all of that in, and it can be damaging. And so when people talk about masking, quite often it's the layman's term would be trying to act like you don't have autism, or acting in a way that neurotypicals approve of. And quite often it's to the detriment of the well-being of the person with autism. Oh, Mega says, I've heard that ABA teaches masking. Thoughts? Oh my goodness. What a good question. Why does ABA get the reputation that they mask, or that they teach kids to mask? Well, let me tell you, as someone that's a BCBA and as someone who is the CEO of an ABA company and who has 2 children with autism, I can tell you exactly why. It's because that used to be exactly what they would do. And not that long ago. I mean, like 15 years ago. Let's see here. All right. Like 15 years ago. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys, I'm messing everything up here. There we go. Like 15 years ago or more, a lot of what people would learn to do to work with people with autism is they would learn to get them to stop doing the weird things, make them not flap their hands, make them make eye contact, make them sit at a table when they're 2 years old and that's not developmentally appropriate. And so ABA, when it was first started, a lot of their focus was making that kid look more normal. And as ABA has evolved, it's been a lot more neuroaffirming, a lot more assent-based. And proper ABA today doesn't try to change who a child is, doesn't try to help them mask, but help them develop the skills they need to succeed, to better communicate, and really to access reinforcement more. So that's why. Afi says, last week I had a meltdown and started crying at my GPs because my support worker kept putting words making everything worse. I'm so sorry, Afi. I'm so sorry. Yes, he says, what would you say about stem cell therapy for nonverbal autistic child? Wow, what a good question. Okay. Stem cell therapy, in theory, sounds fascinating. Okay. Stem cell therapy, in theory, is like, oh my goodness, we're going to fix the root cause of autism. And then you look at it and you have to pay $15,000 to $20,000 to go and do it. And if you look at the actual studies, the results are very mixed. There is not clear evidence. There is not clear evidence that stem cell therapy helps. And if you're going to go spend $15,000 to $20,000 on something that's going to help your kid, don't have it be stem cell therapy. Don't have it be stem cell therapy. Think of all the things. Let me ask you this. What would you do with $15,000 to $20,000 to improve your child's life, to better support your child, other than stem cell therapy? What would you do with that money? Like, what would you do if you had that money to be able to support your child? Someone said music therapy. Yeah, a lot of kids find a lot of really good regulation of music therapy. It's not a core therapy I recommend, but I'm not opposed to it. Buy a house. Yes. Okay. If you had $20,000 and that got you into a space that provided a better living environment for your child, that is going to be way better than being able to pay for stem cell therapy. Anything else? Jade says, I'd build a huge sensory room. That's what I always say. I always say, if I had $20,000, I'd convert my garage into a sensory room for my child, for my two kids with autism. Have there be, a nice, safe trampoline and a ball pit and places to jump and run around in. Oh my goodness. Yes, that's what I would do. The mobile says, are more adults being diagnosed with autism? Yes, so many adults are being diagnosed with autism. And it's not because they didn't have autism as a kid. It's because the diagnostic criteria changed in 2013. And also the screening has increased since then, where every pediatrician is checking at the 18 and 24-month period checkup point. So you have these adults that lived with autism their entire life looking for validation and support to help them now. So absolutely. Jade says, how can I reduce screen time? My 2-year-old is on screen most of the day and I worry about it. Jade, I feel ya. I want to comment on this. I might not have a clear answer for you, but I want to comment on this. I have a video that I am looking at. I'm going to be making a stitch about on TikTok. And let me tell you what it is. I saw a video that a woman was saying that screen time and too much screen time gives kids virtual autism. And that's what she called it, virtual autism. That if you give your kid too much screen time, then they're going to get virtual autism. Now, I agree that there can be damage from having too much screen time. There can be. There's also research to suggest that some screen time, especially with the parent there watching with the child and singing and playing with the child while they watch educational shows, can actually benefit the child. But virtual autism does not exist. That is not a diagnosis. And by them saying that, they weren't trying to say it gives them autism. They're trying to say it makes them act like they have autism, I think. But what it does is it pushes forward this idea that autism is somehow caused by the way that we parent our children. So I want you to know, I don't remember your name, whoever was asking about your 2-year-old watching screen time. That's something you're going to have to work on. You can start slow, but I want you to have the reassurance that that is not what caused your child to have autism. Okay? You did not cause your child to have autism because of the screen time. Now, it's not beneficial for them to just have unlimited screen time and be watching it all day, every day. But one of the best ways that you can get rid of that is immerse them in fun therapies. Like ABA therapy, if they're getting 30 hours a week of ABA therapy and they're playing hard and they're learning, so what if they get a couple hours in the evening of screen time? So what? That's fine. That's not going to do anyone harm. That's fine. But this idea that the amount of screen time a child gets gives them autism is something that I have had people say to me, and that's why I'm frustrated by it. People think autism is caused by the way you discipline your child. They think it's caused by the way that you allow them to watch screen time, when that just absolutely is not the case. Jazzy says we do swimming 2 times a week. Yes, swimming. We don't talk about swimming enough, you guys. When was the last time I talked about swimming on my live? Oh my goodness, we need to do that. Guys, can I tell you something I'm really happy with? My company, we do ABA therapy in Utah. And one of our clinics that we have in Ogden, Utah, we bought a place that has an indoor pool. If you don't know this, kids with autism are up to 160 times more likely to drown than their neurotypical peer. It's the leading cause of death. 160 times more likely to drown than their neurotypical peer. I had an adaptive swim teacher tell me that there is research that kids with autism, the sensory input coming from being immersed in water, of being, at the bottom of a swimming pool and the pressure of the water all around, is so satisfactory, so motivating, that there are instances where that overpowers the child's desire to come up for air. Also, the biggest thing here is elopement. Your child runs away. They see a body of water, and they're curious, or they're just unsafe, and they fall in, and that's where a lot of this comes from. And so you need to teach your kids to swim. You need to teach your kids to swim, okay? Safely. Do it safely. I'm going to be holding an event pretty soon, within the next month, with the adaptive swim teacher, talking about how you can help your child be safe around water. So I'll keep you posted on that. But that's something that's really important to me. Lal says, my son loved wearing heavy snow boots in summer. I love that. Oh, yeah. Abby says, I struggle with the water thing as my kiddo also has dysphagia and the risk of aspiration. Oh, terrifying. Yeah, Time says all kids should learn. Earth is 70% water. So important. Hello, Holland. Good to see you. Message me. I need to know who you are. Message me. I'm trying to remember. I need to place you. But thanks for being on here. Let's see. Nicole says, I worry my daughter has autism, but no one is listening to us, her parents. Nicole, have you gone and gotten an evaluation? Let's see. Roxy, if you want to come up, we can have a chat, Roxy. I just sent you an invite. Sorry, guys. My mic is having issues. There we go. If you want to come up, you don't have to, Roxy. I bring people up on occasion. We like to have conversations. Roxy says that her son was just barely diagnosed with autism. That's a hard place to be. If you don't want to come up, that's okay too. Okay, Nicole, you were saying that your child is not yet diagnosed. You need to go and get that diagnosis. People don't have to listen to you. You said, my son has autism, but no one's listening to me. Get it written down on a piece of paper, then everyone has to listen to you. Reg says, any early signs? How early can you tell? I have a newborn. Oh, that is a great place to be. Okay, Reg, let's talk about autism and the first early signs. I like to do this. People in the chat, what were some of the first signs that led you to think your child had autism? What were some of the first signs that you saw, that you noticed that your child might have autism? So, Reg, you have a newborn. You're not going to be able to tell. You're not going to be able to tell as a newborn. It takes time to be able to see. Now, that doesn't mean that your child is going to develop autism. If your child has autism, they already have it right now as a newborn. There's nothing you're doing or nothing that you can do that's going to make them autistic, okay? But some things people are saying: toe walking, spinning, hand flapping, staring at hands, staring at lights, hated swaddling, wouldn't laugh, no eye contact, banging head, covering ears, repetitive play. So there are clear diagnostic criteria, and the earliest that you can diagnose is typically 18 months, though technically the ADOS supports assessments as early as 14 months, I believe. My daughter was 19 months when she was diagnosed. And there's a pre-screener that you need to look at. It's the MCHAT, M-C-H-A-T, MCHAT. And it asks you questions, and it may ask you things like, does your child struggle to point? Does he look where you point? And do they follow where you're pointing at? Do they share joy in their toys? Do they come and bring you their toys to play with you? Do they respond to their name? How are they communicating? But you'll notice probably with my child, I noticed definitely before the age of 1 that he was so fixated on his hand. He just wanted to look at his hand all day, every day, and lights, and not as interested in people, and he wasn't responding to his name. NWS says, what treatments do you recommend? Oh, what a good question. You guys, don't overcomplicate autism. If you have a child with autism, there's no need to do the majority of the things that people are telling you that you need to do. Now, if someone tells you that you need a vitamin or you need to buy this thing or do this treatment, and they have a link in their bio that they're going to, get paid for you to go and get their supplement, that's a red flag. Let me tell you the basics. Now, you can go and do a lot of learning on your own, but before you go and do that learning, let me explain something to you. Autism is kind of funny that, there are steps. Okay, let me break down these steps. The first is you need a village. Okay, before you worry about treatments and therapies, you need to make sure you are taken care of. Okay, do you have people that can take your child? Do you have somebody that if you had to go to the emergency room could stay with your child? Do you have somebody that you can rely on a weekly or monthly basis to watch your child so you can go and have a date night? I mean, you need a village first. Before you worry about treatments, worry about getting a village. Step 2, you need to get a diagnosis. Okay, that is part 2 of this journey. And part 3 is the treatment. These are the core therapies. There are 4 core therapies that are typically paid for by insurance that are the frontline therapies for people with autism. Okay, it includes ABA therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and mental health therapy. Now, I'm not saying your child needs all 4 of those, but I'm saying those are 4 of the options that you should be looking into. I'm currently working, hopefully within the week, I'll have it released, a tool that helps you decide which therapies may be most impactful for your child. It's going to be a free tool that you can just kind of use that I'll send people to. Now, there's other things. I mean, people always want to talk about like gluten-free diets or, gut health and things like that. And my opinion on all of that is this: nutrition impacts everybody. Nutrition is important. But your child is not autistic because of toxins. Your child is not autistic because of his diet. Your child has autism because that's the way he developed in utero. And so any of those treatments or supplements is not to reverse autism. Anyone telling you they're going to reverse autism, run. Run from someone who's going to tell you they're going to reverse your child's autism. Run. Autism is the way the brain developed, but your child can learn. Your child can be supported. Your child can learn to communicate fully, most likely, and you just need to support them with these core therapies. How do you feel about stem cell therapy? Same thing. It's not research. There's not enough evidence to justify $15,000 to $20,000. Bubble says, my son stims, loves numbers, toe walks, etc. Has been tested 3 times, passed every one by school doc. I don't know what you mean by pass. I told everyone that my daughter had her autism evaluation and she passed with flying colors. That meant she got her diagnosis. So I'm not quite sure. Let's see. And keep in mind that school and medical diagnosis are different. So you might want to go and get a medical diagnosis for autism. Okay. Roxy says, what is ABA therapy for? What will they learn from that? ABA therapy is applied behavior analysis, and it is, honestly, it's the most, it is probably the most highly funded service for people with autism. And they will pay for up to 40 hours a week, insurance does, up to 40 hours per week of therapy. And what that includes is working on communication, working on skills, working on problem behaviors, and replacement behaviors to replace those problem behaviors. And it's evidence-based. There's entire peer-reviewed journal articles or journals entirely devoted to applied behavior analysis. It is a science, just like speech therapy is a science. And it's one of those that they can help with just about everything doing ABA therapy. Leisha says, how is there a link between autism and ARFID? Okay, that's a good question. So ARFID refers to restricted eating. Okay, put ARFID in the chat if your child has ARFID. And so ARFID is extremely rigid and avoidant food selectivity. All right, we got some people in the chat. ARFID, yes, absolutely. Keep putting that in the chat if you have a child with ARFID. And so a lot of it comes down to the sensory issues. You know, my child doesn't like his food to touch. My child doesn't like food to... he has his favorite foods, his safe foods, and doesn't always want to try different foods. And so, yeah, they're associated. There's also people without autism that have ARFID, but there is a connection there. One thing I do want to say about ARFID is you should not make your child eat what you made if they have their safe foods. What I'm trying to say is you get these old school parents who try to discipline their kids and say, you know what? I made green bean casserole. You're going to eat green bean casserole or you're going to go to bed hungry. And your kid with ARFID, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? If your kid with ARFID is told that they have to eat the green bean casserole or go to bed hungry, what are they going to do? Are they going to eat that green bean casserole? Let me ask you, are they going to eat that green bean casserole? They're going to go to bed hungry. They're going to go to bed hungry over and over and over again. The moment that you try to treat ARFID or restricted eating by making them be eat what you make or else they don't get to eat, they are going to be malnourished. It gets to the point with kids with ARFID that sometimes they need a G-tube where you feed them fluids going directly into their stomach because they refuse to eat other foods and they don't have safe foods. Don't take away your kid's safe food. Don't let other parents judge you to the point where you feel like you have to force your kid to eat what you make. We need to work on it. This is going to be debilitating throughout their entire life. And kids with ARFID can progress. They can expand. They can have a wider array of safe foods. But the way you do that is not by saying either you're hungry, either you eat it or you go to bed hungry. I mean, that is so old school, okay? Fed is best. Thank you, Jade. I agree. It's more important to have a healthy relationship with food. Yes, yes. What is your opinion in the mix of autism and ADHD? It's a good question. I know ADHD is like the brain is such a funny thing, and we don't understand the brain nearly enough. ADHD does not include all of the aspects of autism. And so up until this point, it is not the same disability. ADHD is not within autism. But many people diagnosed with autism are also diagnosed comorbid. They have a comorbid diagnosis of autism and ADHD. And I think what's hard is there's just so many similarities between those two. Yeah. So many similarities between ADHD and autism. Kaylee says, can ARFID and pica coexist? Yeah. Yeah, what a brutal combination, huh? What a brutal combination. What a brutal combination. It is estimated, I think, that 30 to 40% of people with ADHD have autism and around 80% of autistic people have ADHD. Interesting, Flicks. Very interesting. I need to look at some of that research. I can't speak to that. I don't have that research on me. Carolina says, yep, my son eats paper all the time. Okay, ARFID and pica are two things that can happen at the same time. Lee says, does anyone in this chat deal with extreme anger from their children with diagnoses? Can we talk about pica management for a minute? Carly, sure, we can talk about pica management. Put pica in the chat if your child engages in pica, if your child eats things that they shouldn't. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about pica. Put pica in the chat if your child eats or engages in pica, they eat things that are not food. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, a lot of people have pica. I'm seeing some people, this is their first time in the live. I'll get back to the pica here while you guys are putting that in the chat. Let me introduce myself. If you're new here, my name is Kylan. I go live every day for about 2 hours, usually about noon Eastern time to 2 p.m. Eastern time. Sundays are my wild cards. Some days I go live, some I don't. But if I do, it's in the afternoon later. But I have a 3.5-year-old diagnosed with autism. I have a 1.5-year-old that this week she got diagnosed with autism. And I'm a board-certified behavior analyst. I've worked with people with autism and disabilities since 2013. And I'm the CEO of a company that provides autism supports in the state of Utah. So that's a little bit about myself. And I created this village and because I need a village. Autism is hard. It is hard to be the parent of a child with autism. And I don't say that to talk bad about my child. I love my child so much, but this is hard. I had someone tell me, like, I made a video about how my child is beautiful despite his autism. And then a parent did reply, and I understand where she's coming from. She said, there's nothing beautiful about a 10-year-old who is still in diapers and engages in all these problem behaviors and high support needs. And it broke my heart to hear that. It broke my heart to hear someone say that the challenges take away from your child's beauty. Both of those things can be true. Your child is so difficult. My child is so difficult. It is hard. We need support. We need a village from all of us who are working with people with autism. We need a village. But it can be true at the same time that our children are beautiful. Guys, the last little bit of this live, I'm opening up the panel. We're going to bring some people up. We're going to have some discussions. This time, if you have questions, please join. If you are in the guest box, it is because you have questions about autism that you want to have a discussion about. So if you have questions about autism, I am modifying this so more people can see it. Go ahead and request up, you guys. If you have questions about autism, come on up and let's talk about them. Let's talk about questions that you may have.
Hello.
Well, hey, Lexi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. We got Leilani loading up here. Leilani, how are you doing? Let's see if you can load in here. Everybody, I have Lexi up here. She is a moderator for us. She also helps run our Discord. We do have a Discord. We have a Discord because this live is only 2 hours a day and autism support is 24/7. So please join the Discord. The link is in my bio. And yeah, Lexi.
If anyone has an issue with joining the Discord in regards to the link through the bio, I will be more than happy to help. If you send me a message after the live, I can help you if you run into any issues.
Thank you so much, Lexi. All right, welcome in. Hey, you've been up here before, I think. I can't remember. I remember your name.
I was here the other day.
Yes.
And I wanted to give you guys an update about what's going on because I'm even more frustrated. I'll go back over what I told you. My son's been waiting. Somebody's calling me. Sorry.
You're okay.
So I was getting a call. So we've been waiting 9 years for his appointment at SIU Autism Center. And his appointment was last week, and I was so excited. They had me download an app. They were supposed to send me a link to my email. So I just kept refreshing my email, checking that the app was installed right. And a half an hour went by, and they never got back to me, never sent me the code. Right. So I called their number, and it only goes to a voicemail. And during the recording, it says, too, that their wait list is currently closed. They will not be accepting anyone for the next 12 years. I don't know why 12 is an odd number. And we've already been waiting 9. So then I called the clinical center, which is where they operate out of, SIU Clinical Center. And I complained like crazy, crying like an idiot.
Oh, my gosh.
To this receptionist.
When did you schedule this? How did they just not show up to your appointment? How is this possible?
Well, yeah, okay, so, right. She chased down somebody in that department, and they really didn't apologize. They just said, oh, yeah, the supervisor was out. Sorry, she didn't get a hold of you. So I got off of there. They said, if you don't hear back from us for a reschedule by Friday, to call us back. And so I forgot to think like, oh, you can't call them. So I tried to call them again. It went to voicemail. Again, no response. I emailed them. Again, no response. So I was waiting. I did this like fast food version of an online assessment for him that I found when I was just desperately Googling. And they spent 30 minutes evaluating my son. And they told me that they can't diagnose him with autism because of his physical abilities to do all kinds of stuff, jump and move and turn, things like that, identify his elbow, but that he has severe sensory processing disorder, and he should be reassessed for like all the stuff he's already been assessed for, and to continue waiting for SIU to do the full testing. But I'm wondering, does that at least help us a little bit to at least we've gotten the sensory processing thing? I don't know.
So it won't qualify you for ABA. So did they do did they do the autism evaluation? Did they do the ADOS or just a pre-screener?
I think it was something that was pre-screened because it was 30 minutes long. That was the extent of our phone interview. It was done like on
it was just
Zoom
a phone
style.
interview.
Exactly. So they can't do anything that's really in depth. But I mean, they could tell he had problems, but they couldn't say, well, that right there is textbook autism, because he has some strengths and weaknesses. He's really good at some things, but not others. Like he's physically, yeah.
Let me say this. That is extremely frustrating. And I had a similar experience. When my child got diagnosed, We were on a wait list for 6 months, not the years and years like you, but we were on a wait list for 6 months. We got off the wait list. We went into the appointment thinking we were going to walk out with a diagnosis, but really they just said, oh, this was just a pre-screener to tell us that you can go on the real wait list. It's going to be another year. And
Yeah,
so
they've
like
done that.
the wait lists are ridiculous. The wait lists are ridiculous, and it's harming our children to not be able to get the services. There's actually a bill in Utah that is working on expanding who is able to diagnose autism, and they're going to label it as include more people that are able to diagnose, including like LCSWs who are trained in delivering the ADOS. And if that passes, that really is greatly going to reduce the wait list time in different areas. I will say this, that I am so sick of so many. I haven't shared this that many times. A couple times I have, but when I got told it was going to be another year, I called as many psychologists as I could find to get my child in. And one of them said, hey, look, I know it's frustrating for you, but look at it from my perspective as a psychologist. This is great job security. And if it wasn't over the phone, I probably would have, hit him in the face or something. I don't know. But
I also wondered if SIU was lying to me. They told me on the phone that they don't offer services for children his age, ABA therapies for children 6 and under, and that they can't really provide us anything other than a diagnosis. And that was also another hit. That hurt because I really want him to get the help he needs because I can't do it on my own.
It's you gotta find the caregivers, and when there's a lack of caregivers, that's a big deal. A couple things that I'm just going to bring up here. One, I am working currently on putting together for the United States geographic area an approved or like an endorsed provider network that I'm going to have of people that I have personally screened and providers that I have screened and recommend, including speech therapists, occupational therapists, psychologists doing diagnosing, ABA therapy, and mental health therapy. And that way I can be, you say, hey, there's no one in my area. Me and my people will do a deep dive and find and make sure that we have a list of solid providers in that area. It's just, and part of my requirement will be that you have a wait list of less than 6 months. Because I think if you have a wait list of longer than 6 months, you're not doing anybody any good.
Right.
So
Well,
I wish I had a
last
better
time-
answer for you. I wish I could help. My other big thing is part of this comes from when states don't provide enough reimbursement for providers, not enough providers want to go there. And so
We've lost a lot of funding in the state of Illinois for mental health services. So that's
yeah, I would, one thing you can do today is send an email to your representatives. And it's easy to find, but tell them your exact situation. Make it very clear that my family is suffering. We can't get a diagnosis. We need help, and we don't have enough providers to meet the demand that we have. And that kind of advocacy, it does have an impact. And so, really for now, like, I am so sorry you're going through this. And I really just want to encourage you to advocate for your child by calling as many providers as possible, but also advocate for your child by talking to the legislators in your area. Thank you for coming up and keep us posted on how that goes. All right, you guys, if you have questions, go ahead and submit a request. We like to bring people up, answer questions. We still have a little bit of time to be doing this. Brookie, let's bring you up next. Hi, Brookie, how are you?
I'm sorry for the drawing on the wall. It was my son. Swear to God, it was not me. But he painted a picture. I think it was really supposed to be a giraffe.
Are you an autism parent?
Yeah, my poo pop is actually right there. Mr.
Oh,
Wu.
my gosh. Hey, look at that. Look at him responding.
He's adorable.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish his father would think the same shit, but that guy is a shit case.
I'm
stand
so
him.
sorry.
So is my
Yeah.
son's dad. No worries.
Where are you from? Where do you live?
It's like upsetting, and I get where you guys are coming from. I live in Florida,
Okay.
and it's not getting no better out here. I swear it's not. It's just getting worse and worse. I feel as an autistic parent that, listen, I'm I could talk politics with my dad all day.
Yeah.
But it has a lot to do with that guy. Trump is not. I don't really think that he really cares. I think he's more for the people that got guap. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, which bread. And it sucks because with Poop Hop, that's what I call him. His name's actually Josiah Israel. I figured it'd go together because Josiah means to heal and Israel,
Look, the politics thing is a big deal. And on this live, I don't talk politics. I don't talk about where I stand on political spectrum. What I talk about is what harms children. And
and taking their medical services is a big time hello.
So let me tell you where I'm at with this. Is the worst thing that has happened was the big beautiful bill that is pulling Medicaid funding away from the states. What they said when they passed the big beautiful bill, they said there's so much fraud going on in all the states, and all we have to do is put in this work requirement, and states are going to be able to make up all this funding, and the fraud just didn't exist. And so states are having to cut their Medicaid funding. And so there are so many states looking at making cuts to ABA services. What was it? New York?
That's what I want to talk to you about.
New York is cutting 25% of their funding to ABA in New York in April, which means... Yeah, which means providers are going to be... I don't know how New York, you have to pay your employees really high in New York. And so they can't handle a 25% cut to ABA services.
I know. Do you think that really works?
What works? ABA?
Well, see, because Poop Hop is about to be 3 years old. And Poop Hop is, he knows more sounds than he does words. He just now learned how to say my dog's name, which is Tuki. Good thing it's not Rosalina, because I think that would be a long time. He's very it's not intentional. We all know this. Our kids are not going to just try to beat our feathers and make sure that we look like a featherless bird. That's what I'm saying, Pop. You can talk. And then and it's like, so people are like, oh well, you shouldn't what's the word I'm looking for, basically take them out of society, socializing. There we go. I'm trying. Oh, he's saying hello.
Hello, Poop Pop. Hello, Poop Pop.
Yeah, it's my new friend right there, Mr. Wu. He's actually teaching me a lot now. And it's just so I am, okay, listen, I call me crazy, but with the stuff that I've seen in daycares and preschools and what happened, I think his name was Co-Red. I think that is completely unfair that you go to pick up your kid and your kid is frozen ice cold, and then the teacher's gonna, hold on, Josiah, and then the teacher's gonna tell you, well, he's been sleeping since nap time. Yeah. No, that and so I'm skeptical. I'm a first-time mom. Poop Pop is my firstborn child. He's actually very special. And, he's not the only one that got disabilities. I got disabilities myself. I don't fall in the spectrum. I don't know how he ended up. I think the vaccinations made him delayed because, and that's just coming out of my opinion, because Poop Pop was trying to talk already at 8 months he started. And then he was trying to walk around maybe 11 and a half, 12 months. And then it's he got these vaccines and, it's sad that we confine these doctors and, they're not going to admit it because once they admit it, compensation is going to be throughout the whole world. And it's so you basically, my baby was normal and you just ruined him. So I didn't give him the 4th set shot. I'm not doing it. And then people are telling me, well, he needs to socialize and he needs to be around kids. Now, don't get me wrong. Poop Pop loves kids. Poop Pop will run laps through a park. It is very insane. I get very tired.
I need to jump in here, okay? Let me jump in here just because on this platform I need to be very clear about my stance and where things are.
It's just because I want to homeschool them. That's it. Okay, and I don't think I'm wrong for that.
I just want to. I need to address the vaccination stuff real quick. I totally relate to where parents feel this. I mean, our brains try to find answers, and my 19-month-old. She was developing, it seemed, neurotypically and responding to her name. And about 14 months, we saw regression. And it's devastating to see. It hurts. And our brains try to find a connection of what made this happen. And you need to know that, nothing can cause autism after a child is born. autism was autism is how the brain was developed in utero.
But why?
And
I did everything right. I wasn't on drugs. I
no,
didn't do nothing wrong.
you did not. You did not do anything wrong. You are not to blame. And when you talk about vaccinations, that's just one more thing that you're putting on yourself and blaming yourself for. And what I'm
Yeah.
trying to do is say there is nothing that you could have done or can do to make it so your child does not have autism. You can't reverse autism because it's not something that's caught. It's the way his brain was developed. What we can do is we can help our child grow. We can help our child learn. We see anecdotes like this all the time. Like we see around the age of 12 to 18 months, right around the times they get vaccines, that is the same time that regression often happens because development is not linear.
You're smart, dude.
But it,
By the way.
oh, thank you. But it does not mean though that vaccines caused it. And I don't talk all about vaccines. There are like concerns with vaccines, and you can have effects of vaccines, and but autism is not one of those.
So can you tell me where it comes from? What is it?
can.
Because I'm not autistic. His
You're
dad
not
isn't.
autistic. It's genetic, but that doesn't mean it's hereditary. So it's in the genes, it's in the DNA, but it just happens. It just occurs. And they've identified about 500 genetics
Jesus.
that that all correspond together that impact how the brain develops with a autistic child. And so a lot of people say we don't know how autism happens and what causes it. We know so much. And let me tell you the easiest to understand evidence of this. Do you know what happens when there are
They're smart.
identical twins? Do you know what happens when there's identical twins and one has autism?
But
The vast majority of the time, the other twin has autism. If identical twins share 100% DNA, do you know what happens
Yeah.
when they're fraternal twins and one has autism? Fraternal means they don't share DNA. They don't share exact DNA. So fraternal twins could be a boy and girl. You don't see that correlation. When DNA matches, they both have autism. When DNA doesn't match, they don't always have autism. That is one of the clearest ways to look at it and be like, yes, this is genetic. But there can be environmental factors. Okay, there can be environmental factors in birth. So some of the things that can increase risk of having a child with autism is older parents. You don't have to have any of these, and you can also have these, and it doesn't lead to autism.
I had him at 31.
Yeah, that's not older. That's not older. And but it's not just the mom; it's even more the dad, which is interesting. If the dad is over the age of 40,
bimbo.
it increases the risk of autism. There's also things like
was
wildfire
35.
smoke and pollution and things like that. Also, if the mom has like infections during pregnancy, or if there's like a traumatic birth where the child's deprived of oxygen, things like that can be associated with it. But even with all of that, the
Even with
genetics are the
gestational
blueprint.
diabetes?
I actually don't know about gestational diabetes and autism. Did you have
Yeah, neither do I.
gestational diabetes?
Yeah, they gave me that, and then they told me I had that. I had also this thing called preeclampsia, and I Poop Pop was supposed to be a 9-pound baby. He was 5 pounds 11 ounces. Because you don't even want to know the stress that I had to go through, and it had nothing to do with him. It had to do with his father. His father is a dog. Let's just put it like that. And I went through a lot. I went through a lot of crying. Not because like I was just emotional watching Monster-in-Law or Pregnancy Charlotte's Web, but because like he's a freaking cheater. And I caught him each and every time, and it infuriated me.
Is he
because I'm like,
involved?
Jesus,
Is he involved still? Does he help?
what the hell is he helping? Let me tell you what. Kylan, right?
Yeah, Kyla.
Okay, so guys never bought him diapers, never bought him wipes. I'm like, Jesus Lord, in the name of Christ. I'm just saying, the least you could do is buy him a car from the dollar store. He loves cars. He loves cop cars. He says hi to all the police officers. Hell, they turn on the lights and everything for Josiah. The only thing is that Josiah don't like loud noises. It makes him like really go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes. And the dad, I had a girl ask me what flavor she was because she was sleeping with my baby father and I didn't even know. Yeah, tell me about it. So I did what a woman should do. I took him to work because he don't have a car nor a license. And so long story short, he's from prison. So he got out of prison and I met him. And I came from a fortunate family and he comes from like West Side, and
Yeah.
and so I took him out of that, and I wanted to better him as a person because I'm a real good person, bro. If you told me I don't have $10 for milk, hey, look, what's your Cash App, what's your Zelle, I got you. I don't even have to know you. That's a baby. That is a freaking baby,
Yeah.
and he can't live without milk, so like I went through postpartum.
Oh wow.
He came a month and a half late. I figured that, hey, every child deserves to have their father. Don't take them away. And I tried to give him that opportunity. But since he wanted to go with the poodle, who's the one that told him, you're a dad, bro, and I'm not. But I am going to say, you tell me what your thoughts on this. So the girl sits there and says, I don't give a beep about that baby. Beep. And then she said, I'll put one on that baby's head. So I don't know what she even meant by that shit, but when I tell you that I have a RAV4.
Oh my
I put
gosh.
that little mother in sport, and I drove from Davenport, Florida, all the way to the west side of Orlando, and damn near it takes me 56 minutes to get there, and I got there in 35. You're not going to threaten my child. Talk that shit while I'm in front of you now, because you're not. So then it was like he stayed with her, and I'm like, so like, what does that even mean to Josiah? Now the guy is sitting in the birdhouse, and what I call the birdhouse is the jailhouse, and he said God is punishing him for all the things that he has lacked on. He's never bought Josiah nothing. He can't hold a job. He always finds it's either the person's racist or this or that, because my baby father is black and I'm Puerto Rican and Cuban. But that, I don't think that really so much has to do with it. I think it's just because he's just a lazy ass, is what I call it. And it's like he wants, and maybe you can kind of guide me, because my father's really not part of my life anymore after my brother died. But it's just like, Antonio cheated on me for 3.5 years, and I did everything and anything. But it's just like, Poo Pop gets so happy when he sees his dad on the tablet, and it's just like, I want to give him another chance, but then I feel like he's not going to change, and then I feel like maybe he can. He's facing right now a 10-year sentence because the dumb thought that he could flee from the police, and what you can you can't get away. They got helicopters, bro, and it's just like, I don't know what to do. I'll call you dad. I don't know what to do, dad, because like, it's just like, do I allow him to come back after these years that he does? Do I not? Is he gonna change? Is he not? I'm sure that with him not calling me in days, he had someone. You know how them prison guys are. They either got somebody doing something for them, or they find the little dumb bimbo. Usually, I would call it Caroline from like the Vampire Diaries, one of my favorite series of all times. And it's just like, I don't know what to do. And people are telling me that I'm stupid because they're like, he's 37 years old now. And from 31 to 35, he never changed. And people are like, yo, because my name's really not Brooklyn, it's Cassandra, but I go by Brooklyn. So like, everybody's like, Cassandra, he had 3.5 years to change. He didn't want to. He chose a girl over his own damn son. You know what I'm saying? He was not appreciative. He was ungrateful. He took my truck and took off my Puerto Rican boxing gloves that I had there, and he threw it in the back of the car. It's amazing because I triple knotted it. And it was because when I looked at his watch, because the dumb is deleting the crap off of his phone, I seen everything on his watch. So you're pulling up in my truck, going to see a girl, but you told me you were going to see your sister. And it's like, I don't deserve that, but I'll do anything for Poo Pop to be happy. But then my dad said, because I talked to him not long ago, he said that sometimes it's better for the father not to play a part in its life, knowing that he's not really going to do so much. But I'm Christian, and I don't want my pop to ever say like, Mommy, why didn't Daddy ever love me? Why am I not good enough? I already know that I don't fit in society. People look at, like the girl at Walmart the other day that looked at my son up and down because she was like 7. It's like looking at him like, oh, why doesn't he talk? Why doesn't he straight yell? Well, maybe you should ask and not give a death stare. That's really rude. You know what I'm saying? Because then he goes to me and he, I push him in his stroller and stuff, and then he looks up to me and he goes, Mama. And it's just like, that breaks me. And kids are cruel, and I want to put them in ABA only for the fact that I can see him and that I know he's here, and now he's bringing me my shoes. Yeah. So it's like, I don't want to put him in school because I'm too scared, and I'm not going to let you harm my child in any means, because if I ever, I'll just lose my mind.
Let me jump in here. I need to comment on a few things here. I also brought up Amy. Amy and Lexi are two of my good friends here on this live, and I'm sure they both have thoughts.
Hi.
But
I have thoughts too after you're done, Caitlin.
yeah, let
Same.
me.
Yeah. I was gonna jump in at some point, but yeah, I'll wait until you and Lexi are done.
Yeah,
So cool. I like them already.
look, they're good people. They're good people, and they're gonna have even better thoughts than me. But I just want you to know and respect your value. Like, you are doing so much for your child, and it frustrates me to the core when I see men who do zero of the effort, zero of the work, and think they get to come in and benefit from the perks of being a dad. And like,
Okay.
to me,
So I'm
that
mom
is
with that dad.
unacceptable. That is unacceptable. Why does he get the perks of coming and being a fun dad when he doesn't pay child support? He doesn't take care of the kid. He's in jail. He's not the one. Like, your kid has autism 24/7. Your mind is on. You're probably not sleeping well. You're struggling financially. I mean, things are hard, and I'm making assumptions because of how I am as a parent of a child with autism. But
And I also receive SSI, so it's really nothing, bro.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, but it gets me by a little.
look, it is impossible, and you deserve better. You don't deserve. You deserve way better than a man who contributes nothing and takes and adds to your mental load. You have enough
Sure.
mental load. He adds to your mental load. You don't
lot.
need anything to do with that. Anyway, I'll stop there. Lexi, Amy, go ahead.
Okay. What does your baby's father contribute to him?
He doesn't.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
But I can say that with Kylan, like, I don't have him on child support. The only reason why I won't go for it is because, like, 298, I don't really need your money. You're not gonna sit here and think that you have 50% rights to my child when you have not done nothing. You live in the hood. There's firearms. There's drugs. People, and then it infuriates me when there's a 3-week-old baby sitting in a freaking stroller, for Christ's sakes, and you're gonna smoke marijuana in front of the baby. Like, what is wrong with you, bro? But the only reason why I didn't call DCNF was because they're gonna jump me. There's more of them than there is of me, and they all do the same thing, so they already know it's gonna be me. And I don't want Poop Pop with his son. And the reason why Antonio has, that's his name, by the way. Antonio has robbery with a firearm. Went in at 18, got out at 31. Now he's facing a 10-year sentence. He keeps going to jail. And now it's like, oh, well, Cassandra, I should have listened to you. I love you, blah, blah, blah. You know the jailbird talk is always great. And like, blah, blah, blah. And I just want to come in, and I missed out on Josiah's life, and I want to like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like be able to like build with him. And
That's
rebuild with
perfect
you.
right there. He stated to you that he wants to rebuild his relationship with his child. What does he know about his child?
That he likes
Does-
oatmeal.
Does
That's
he
it.
know? Okay, so he doesn't know about the autism. He doesn't know about the struggles. He doesn't know about the sleepless nights. He doesn't know about finding help. He doesn't know about advocating. He doesn't know about any of that. So what I'm going to suggest to you to really sit and think on is, what has he contributed to your child's life? Nothing. And what can he contribute to your child's life? And I'm not
Nothing.
going to sit here and call you stupid, because we're women.
am,
We
though,
have
Lexi.
feelings. We have emotions. We want to see the best in people. And that's great. It's fantastic. It's something that we hold that is amazing. However, in spite of all that,
I just
our
wanted to say-
children have to be number one all
Yes.
the time. And if your child is not number one to him, then you do not need to give him an opportunity. And I understand you, because my child's dad denied his autism diagnosis, said
Oh, no.
that it was because yo lo tenía mimado. And I know you understand what that means.
Yes.
Like, I had him up my skirt, is the way that he just explained it to me, and I just needed to make him more independent and make him do things, and even went to resort to violence on my child, that because I didn't spank him, that was my fault. And that's not okay. After
It's
I
not.
started learning more about autism and what it was and what his needs were, I started noticing that he was 100% completely wrong. So my advice to you is to really take the time to sit on it and identify what your child benefits from having him
Hold
in
on
his
real
life.
quick. Brookie
And if
got
there
a
are no,
violation, and
That's over my dead body.
I'm gonna
I'm
have
not-
keep
I'm not
listening.
losing Josiah.
Keep listening, Brookie. You got a violation. I have to remove you, but keep listening because Lexi has. I'm gonna let Lexi finish her thoughts, and then Amy is still gonna talk to you. Okay, we're going to talk to you, but it made us remove you from the live. I apologize.
and this is more advice for anybody who is in a difficult situation of letting your child's father into their life after they have not been there. Sit on it, think about it, and really say, what benefits my child? Because at the end of the day, this is all about our kids. It's all about our kids. Our children are the most important thing in the world, and you cannot stress yourself out with a man when you're in this situation, and you have to think about your child first. So my suggestion to you, I hope you're still listening here. My suggestion to you is to sit on it, think about it, reflect on it. And if that man is not good for your child, goodbye. Have a nice day. See you later. If he wants to be involved, make him prove that he wants to be involved. Make him go to the sessions. Make him sit at the ABA center while you're sitting there for an hour talking to the BCBA about his progress, about this, about that. And if he really is a good man and a good father, he will put in the effort, learn his child, and support you. You may not be together, but he can still support your child without being with you.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Lexi.
those are just my suggestions.
Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say the big sister part of this, and it's gonna come across as, you know, a little forward, like I usually do. Y'all know how I be. You need to let that man go. You need to quit messing with him. He's no good for you. He's no good for your baby. It sounds like he has put you through hell and back. You need to quit messing with this man because he is only going to bring damage to your son, damage to you, and stress to your family. And that is not what you want. That is not what you want. Growing with your son, I've been exactly where you are now. My daughter just turned 4. And she is my first child. Stopping loving him is hard. It's the fact of the matter that we have to prioritize what actually matters. And what actually matters is your son. Now, this man has made a lifetime of choices at this point that have shown you that you are not his priority. Your son is not his priority. He is looking at another 10-year sentence at this time. So for the next 10 years, he's going to be borderline useless to you. And you don't want to have to take your autistic child to the jail to see his father. That is no way for a child to have to walk up and see their parents. That is crazy. That's crazy. And he can't expect for his crazy to keep bleeding into your life. You need to start prioritizing you and your son. You need to kick this man to the curb. Find you a good man that prioritizes you and your son. You will love again. I tell that to all of my girls that go through shit like this. You have to love yourself more than you love that man. You have to love yourself more than you love that man. And that means prioritizing yourself and your son over him.
Amy, can you? I think you're cutting in and out a little bit.
Oh, yep. Let me move over a little bit to the other side. Is that better?
You're still cutting in and out.
Give me 2 seconds
There we go.
here.
That's better.
Okay.
Right there.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's a matter of prioritizing your love for yourself and your love for your son over this man. He has shown you time and time again that he is not trustworthy, that he cannot be relied on. And at some point, girl, you got to start taking that at face value. He has told you time and time again. He has gotten with women that have threatened the safety of your son. You have to start looking at these situations as what they are, which is you just have to. You just got to get over it. I don't know an easier way to say that. I know it sounds like so blanket statement, but you have to just push through the pain. If you push through the pain and you push through the separation, eventually that will get easier. Just like any breakup. As soon as you start dealing with it, you can start processing through that. And it's going to be hard. It's going to be painful, but there is a light at the end of that tunnel. So just look for it.
Absolutely. Amy, that was perfectly put. I am late. I need to go pick up my son from ABA. I was late dropping him off. I'm going to be late picking him up. And so I apologize for having to end abruptly. Brookie, I am sorry. I hope we can have more conversations, but I fully support Lexi and Amy's input on that. And, autism just complicates relationships a little bit, and it really reveals inequities in relationships. And it sounds like, I'm with them on some of this. So, Brookie says she's going to go live, and Lexi and Amy, if you guys want to hop in, Brookie said that you guys can. So, up to you guys. I have to go, but thank you guys, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. If you don't, oh my good, people are going crazy with these. Jazzy, the gold medal, and the Pirate's treasure. That's incredible. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Have a great day. If you guys don't follow me yet, hit me a follow. I go live every day for a couple hours, usually from noon until 2 p.m. Eastern time. Sundays are a little weird. I usually go in the later afternoon if I do go live. But Monday through Saturday, noon to 2 p.m. Eastern time usually. So have a great day, everybody.
Bye.
I'll
Thank
see you
you.
tomorrow probably. Bye.
Bye.